it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Saturday, June 17th. So the moon is going to be in Gemini all day because, of course, we are building towards the new moon in Gemini that for some of us will take place at the very end of the day here on the 17th, but the majority of us will actually see that potent energy peak in the wee hours Sunday, June 18th. Either way, we are in the new moon window, which means that there's no illumination of the moon in the sky, which means that we're sitting in the darkness, sitting in our emotions, sitting in our intuition, sitting in the funk. We have a lot of mental pressure. We're in Gemini season. We have Mercury who rules over Gemini season and this new moon in its place of power in Gemini energy. And now, emotionally speaking, there's just as much an intensity on that heart space as there is on the head space with the new moon taking place in Gemini energy. So there is a lot of pressure for us to figure things out. There's a lot of intensities really pressurizing that mental plane for us to process old situations, old circumstances, current and present circumstances that, of course, are creating discomfort and struggle. We are being illuminated to where it is that we are kind of fed up, where we can't tolerate certain situations and circumstances anymore, but we don't know what the solution is. The moon in Gemini energy should illuminate for us what some of those solutions are, basically by closing the door and removing some options off of our plate. Now, adding a little bit of fuel to the fire here today, we have Saturn going retrograde. If you haven't listened to the forecast for Saturn going retrograde, I'm going to recommend you do that because we're sitting in this energy until November. And then go ahead and listen to the new moon in Gemini forecast. Download your moon guide, get situated, get prepared. We are about to have a major shift, not only in energy, but in circumstances as well. As we kind of have this new moon, only a couple days later, we are closing the chapter on this karmic cycle. That's why everything feels pretty tough, pretty stagnant, pretty much like a struggle, like we're at the end of our rope because, of course, Cancer season triggering the summer solstice brings in a brand new karmic cycle, karmic chapter. We're so close. So here today we have 10 different aspects. 8 of them are going to involve the moon. The moon in Gemini is going to make an interaction with Pluto, the great transformer himself, who is retrograde in this Capricorn energy. We are essentially looking back, we're reflecting, we're revising old structures, old routines, old relationships, all the things that we've been sitting in, blocking us from making progress from 2008 up until March of this year. Now we are looking back with a different mindset, different level of awareness, different level of consciousness. We are very much processing between our heart and our head where it is that we tried to break away from some of these constructs, and maybe we were successful in doing so, but we didn't bring things to a full completion point. Now we got to look back, we got to kind of rewind, redefine where it is that the power struggles are, where it is that we have to boss up to new levels of authority in our own lives and take the power and control back. The moon will sextile with Mars. Mars, of course, the god of war in this Leo energy, very rooted into that heart space. We are tapping into a new level of spiritual warriorism, if you will. And because the moon is in Gemini, and that's an air energy, and Mars is in Leo energy, that's a fire energy, we do have a good ability right now to be inspired, to be motivated, to be determined, to have an awareness of new paths, new pursuits of happiness. And of course, all very much heart-led because of this Leo energy. The moon will semi-square the true node. The true node is our soul path, our destiny point, and a semi-square does bring a little bit of tension, a little bit of conflict because we're still confused. We should be confused. Neptune is a major key player here in this new moon in Gemini, adding extra fog, extra confusion to the scene, to the circumstance. There is a certain amount of confusion needed prior to breaking through to clarity, and we are at this particular choice point right now where we don't know if we're coming or going. The moon will then sextile Chiron, which is a very good energy. It does kind of suggest that we are recognizing our greatest struggles, the funk that we've been sitting in, what has been broken and bruised, and where it is that we are constructively taking action to kind of settle our inner realm unknowns, lean into the confusion, be at peace with our current discomfort, and know that change is just around the corner. Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves in his place of power in this Gemini energy, is going to sextile beautiful energy with Venus. Venus, of course, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, money in the heart and soul of the zodiac in Leo energy. This is going to put us in a very different mind frame where our heart and our head are trying to communicate. We're trying to get on the same page. We're more open to negotiation. We're more open to compromise, to reconciliation. We are more open to kind of pushing the boundaries of our comfort zone if it means coming up with solutions to our current shit show of circumstance. We are kind of, I'm going to say, a little bit more clear and confident with what it is that we're lacking, what it is that we need, what it is that we're done with, what it is that we want to manifest. And we are speaking from the heart space. We're able to put our thoughts, our feelings into words. We're able to articulate the things that we've been kind of cluster effed on, especially when it comes to our personal relationships and the discord that we've been feeling. We want to get back on the same page. And so we are kind of open. We are kind of warm and heartfelt. We are very empathetic, very compassionate. We're very stimulated if it means that we're coming up with solutions. That's the problem solving focus that we currently have because, of course, we've been on the fence, very divided between the choices and options that we've had on our plate, especially when it comes to the relationship dynamics that haven't been working or relationship dynamics that have kind of been not on the same page. We're actively trying to get our heart and our head in alignment. And therefore, when we are in alignment, we're able to verbalize what it is that we aren't getting, what it is that we need to get in order to feel safe and secure in our current relationship dynamics. 11:56 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have Saturn, the Lord of Karma, moving into that Pisces energy retrograde. We've been moving forward in the Pisces energy, which, by the way, has not been all that pleasant. Now Saturn is going retrograde. Go ahead, listen to the astro forecast so that you understand what we're going to be dealing with from now until November. But basically, we are in reflection mode, review mode, reworking mode, redoing mode. But mostly the key RE word for this particular retrograde is going to be refinement. By the time we actually see Saturn go direct in November, we are going to be all the way back at a 0 degree in Pisces, which we first entered into March. So this is a second go, if you will, of some of the things that we have been trying to change, trying to transform, especially where roles, responsibilities are concerned, the structures, the foundations of our relationships, of our obligations, of our commitment. We are going to be looking back, reviewing what needs to stay, what needs to go, and refining the elements that are staying in order for us to boss up and have a little bit better of a grip, if you will, more discipline, more willpower in order to push through the obstacles and the challenges that, of course, we're going to face when we're trying to create a brand new reality for ourselves. The moon is then going to interact with Uranus in such a way that is going to bring a lot of electricity into our bodies. So pay attention to your central nervous system and how you're allowing that to manifest. It could be anticipation. It could be excitement. It could be anxiety. It could be restlessness. That is up to you. The Uranian energy brings a shock to the system, a disruption, if you will, shows us where it is that we're overly attached to the old. And because of that, where we're essentially blocking the foundation, the structure needed in order for us to move forward, make some progress, make some improvement. This is definitely going to bring a little bit of clarity, although we're not really going to be setting too far into clarity until after the new moon in Gemini. But nonetheless, it is a start. We are getting a couple of different puzzle pieces that are fitting together nicely. That's revealing a little bit of a better option for us to explore. The moon will then semi-square with Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of growth, expansion, belief, abundance, and blessings. He's in this Taurus energy for the next year, showing us where it is that we have the ability to create new opportunities for ourselves, to boss up in financial realms, in relationship realms, in creating a solid foundation, a system, a structure in our day-to-day lives that not only provides us with the stability and the safety and the security that we're currently lacking, but looks just as good as it it feels. We are essentially deconstructing the old reality, the old elements that were kind of brought to life based off of our ego vibration. And we are slowly but surely making the adjustments needed in order to have our reality manifest in alignment with our heart and soul space. The moon will then interact with Pluto in a very good way, which means that we are having some, first of all, intense emotions, intense thoughts, but leading us to epiphanies that will essentially change the way that we saw past situations from our current viewpoint, have a different understanding of why they needed to happen, understand fully why the cluster effery has been in our face, why we've had to sit in the funk, why we've had to have these struggles. We are realizing that it has been character building. It has been a prolonged funk in order for us to truly appreciate the energy shift that we're about to dive into when the summer solstice actually hits and the karmic scales, if you will, get rebalanced. So this is a very intense type of, I'm going to say, emotional and mental shift that will lead us to close the door on a couple of options that have been on our plate for debate and really kind of open us up to the options still available to us and what it is that we're feeling called to pursue, what it is that we're feeling called to explore. The last thing that we have going on here today is the moon in Gemini semi-squaring with Venus. So a semi-square is a minor tension, a minor conflict, and Venus, of course, being in this Leo energy, she's in the heart and soul of things. She's really kind of reevaluating who and what makes her happy, who and what is contributing to making her feel safe and secure, making her feel like she is supported and encouraged in order to pursue the path of happiness that, of course, is going to have her breaking away from kind of backburnering what is important to her in order to make other people happy. Because in this Leo energy, we all have to be leaning into what makes us a unique individual. We really have to follow our own heart and soul, even if it means disappointing and maybe even hurting the feelings of other people by letting them quote unquote down. Why do I say quote unquote down? Because we're not letting them down. We're just putting ourselves first. Consider the fact that every single time that you say yes when you automatically feel that you should say no, not only are you doing yourself a disservice, but you're saying that your wants, needs, and desires don't matter. So finally, when we get to a point where we have to stand up for ourselves, advocate for ourselves, and choose us, yes, some other people's feelings might get hurt. Why is that? Because we are enforcing boundaries that they're not used to. And when you enforce boundaries, especially within your personal relationships, you're going to see who is real and raw and authentic and in alignment with you, because they're going to respect you. They're going to support you. Those that fall away or give you a little bit of a hard time or a hassle for doing what is right for you, that is just because the boundaries that you lacked in the past benefited them greatly. And now that you're bossing up and doing what is right for you, you're pulling that energy back, which means that they're probably not going to be a part of this next chapter in your life because, of course, they're showing their true colors. So having this perspective shift, if you will, on the people and the aspects currently kind of creating struggle and conflict in your heart space will definitely be a realization on where it is that you have to create distance, where you have to break away, and where it is that you really have to boss up and do what is right for you.